so much for dragging up my sordid past in impro. I really appreciate that. It's nice to be here. Just amazed they could fit all this equipment into the jacuzzi.
Can I just say I'm glad to be here as well?
You said that before, Helen.
But I'm still glad. We're only 2 minutes in and I'm still glad to be here.
I've suddenly got less glad. I've got some...
I've never wanted to be here.
I've almost lost the will to live. And on with the music.
We'll put a jingle in there to hide that interruption. We've got a jingle that's 47 seconds long.
The etymology of the noun windbag derives from the pejorative Middle English expression for the overly loquacious female. On Radio 1.
Right, Mandy, we'll start with you, because following a spate of Hollywood movies, well, we've seen women being portrayed in the most outrageously unreal ways. We've got women boiling rabbits because they don't like their boyfriends, and we've got other women dressing up stunningly and managing to hook Richard Gere, even though they're prostitutes. Can I say that word on the radio? I think not. No, Donna, I know.
We've all been there.
It's a living.
So, Mandy,
well, it's a hobby.
You're going to actually tell us the truth behind male and female relationships and talk to us today about what it's actually like living with a bloke. And,
I am going to say it, but can I just say I'm a little bit poorly as well?
You're poorly, darling.
I am. I've been to the doctor and he told me I contracted thrush.
What's that, then?
Well, it's like thrush, but a lot louder. Anyway.
Leave my ears. Book me into hospital immediately.
Can I tell you about taking over from Dawn French? It was a very interesting play, and because I'd had a very exciting run-in with one of the tabloid newspapers, it made perfect sense that I should be, you know, given an opportunity to do that particular play.
I didn't mention that. What happened with the tabloid?
Darling, we've only just met each other. I'm sorry I didn't bring all my diaries with you to read before the programme. Well, it involved me and a lawyer in the Sun newspaper and an exchange of ideas and about my professional standing, and then having to make an apology in part with a substantial amount of cash.
You did, or the Sun?
No, they had to part with the cash.
Oh, what did they say about you?
I accepted it. I just accepted it, and no, I'm not going to give publicity to the tabloids. What sort of woman do you think I am? But it was interesting because that was exactly what the play was about. So it was good fun to be able to go in and do something which I'd actually already had kind of personal research about. More chocolates, thank you, Vicar.
It wasn't a certain Mr. Bushell, was it?
No, it wasn't.
Well, what a shame.
Well, that's because he likes you, dear, doesn't he?
He loves me.
You're quite fond of him, too.
He called me the Beast of Bodmin Moor last week. Very flattering indeed.
It's a bit clever for him, isn't it?
No, but I just think that it's... Well, we haven't mentioned Angus Deaton yet on this programme.
Oh, we're not mentioning him.
Surprisingly.
Is he really sexy?
He's a man who requires more publicity, and I'm very happy to give it to him here, obviously not in the sexual sense, happy to give it to him here and now on the programme.
But you love him?
With a passion that knows no bounds, and with every fibre of my being. Did that sound rehearsed? I didn't mean it to.
So you were with him, you started all the radioactive stuff, and in fact you were at the Comedy Store when it first opened, eons ago, sort of 70... And you did some stand-up comedy then as well,
It was called Comic Strip, yes. And it lasted, about 2.5 seconds, and then I cried and had to go off.
Were you
I
heckled?
didn't like it
Were you
at
heckled?
all, yes. And I wanted to be back in serious plays with big costumes, mad wigs and beauty spots, and I didn't like it one bit at all.
Did they not like you? Did they heckle you?
I don't know whether they liked me because I didn't get a chance to, you know, meet them on a personal basis. I didn't get a lot of Christmas cards from them that year.
It's those old slappers on 1FM.
Well, the reason that we want to talk about heckling is because, I mean, I think that there are lots of situations in life where you could do with a jolly good old heckle put down. Like, for example, when you're in the kebab shop and there's 5 lads in there and they're standing behind you going, "Look at that arse, Terry." Although your name's not Terry, they're saying it to the mate Terry, you see. And what you need is you need to turn around and have some sort of very witty put-down, which you never have at the time because you think of it when you've got home and you're watching Casualty. So I thought we'd chuck around a few, just give people a few ideas for jolly good heckle put-downs.
I've got a good one for if someone shouts, "Get your tits out."
Go on then.
It generally evokes and
It never happens to me.
It rarely happens to me. I wrote this 2 years ago, never had a chance to use it. But I did actually have occasion to use it the other night in Brighton, and it was a great gig as well, but he did shout, "Get your tits out," at which point I was able to turn around and say, "I'm afraid I don't bring my tits to work with me. I generally find there's at least one tit in the audience already."
Yes!
Well, I've always thought, like, if you're fat, and no one else here is apart from me, there might be a few fat girls listening, and if someone goes past you and goes, you horrible fat cow, which actually they do quite a lot if you're fat, one good thing you can say is I deliberately keep my weight up so a twat like you won't fancy me. And then what happens is they fall down on the pavement and slash their wrists because they're absolutely gutted by your wit.
Andy, you've got any, because you do a bit of stand-up.
I do, but I'm so fab I never get heckled.
Are you a liar?
Except on this programme.
Except by the other performers.
Except by the person sitting on your left.
No, but my favourite story, I don't know if I'm allowed to talk about this, but it's actually one that happened to Hattie Hayridge at Up the Creek, which used to be a lovely, well, still is a lovely South East London venue. And it's just that she was on at a gig and someone shouted out, "Show us your very rude bit." And I won't say what the word was, but she was a little bit perturbed by this. When she came off, she saw that this bloke came up to her and he said, "Oh, love, I thought, you know, very, very funny and all that." And she said, "Were you the one that heckled me with that particularly vile heckle?" And he said, no, love, no, that was well out of order. I could tell you as a lady. I was the one who shouted out, "Burn the witch."
But there is also a fantastic story of Hattie, who was actually very lovely demeanour and very nice lady.
Yes, I understand she was out today.
She was doing the Tunnel in Greenwich, which was renowned for being an absolute lion's den, and some bloke got up on stage and pulled her dress up over her head while she was on stage, so she pulled it back down and smashed him in the face. Fantastic. Much
Best
better
heckle
than
put down of all time, I'd have thought that one.
Absolutely. Wow. It's very hard when you get heckled by women, though, isn't it? It's a bit hard to know what to say, I think, sometimes, but...
Well, I always say...
You're doing quite well at the moment.
I always say...
Holding your own.
"Shut up, you silly old tart," which I think's quite good. And then I say, "I'm not being sexist, I'm just heckling you with the names of cakes that I don't like."
Windbags on BBC Radio 1.
And now, I'd like to introduce the Windbags Guide to Safe Sex. Don't try